Good morning, my legitimates. This is going to be one of my first sewing candies, and we are going to perfect putting on our little strap connectors instead of just doing a strip. It does save a little bit of fabric, but I also think that that is very, very cute with those on there. So I have done most of them just to show you what the finished look is. Now this particular shape is from my set, but you could literally draw any shape you want. Like if I was feeling super creative, I could have drawn a flower shape so that it's a flower that holds it on. It doesn't matter what shape. What's important is that we put something to stabilize the vinyl. So you've got a couple of options. Option one is this is base stabilizer that I have ironed on. You could also glue it on. Or you could do 2 layers, but just remember when you fold this over, you will then be sewing through 4. Not everyone's machine loves that. So I love the stabilizer. So this is a 1-inch strip, 1-inch strap connector, sorry. And the strip of stabilizer is 3/4 of an inch because I don't want to see it. So I probably could have gone all the way up to 7/8 and then just centered it. And I'm also using my 3/4 inch double-sided tape. I am cutting this just for precision's sake, but it is the rippable stuff. I love this stuff a lot. Right, so we put like a strip down the center. If you're using skinnier tape, you might want to put 2 strips, depending on what size tape you've got available. If you're doing 1/4 inch, I'd actually do 4. And the reason I do so much is because this tape is also going to hold it in place while we stitch around. So I'm going to peel off the backing and then I'm going to put my loop on. Now, you don't want to pull this all the way down like this. It's too hard to sew, right? So we need to lift it up a little bit so that we can get past the hardware like that. So see how it's just up a little bit, but we won't stitch these bits. So the double-sided tape on the back's holding that down, and then I've still got this much to place it. So now I've got a ruler. I found my center because I always just find that easier. So there to there, I've worked out how I'm going to place mine. You can place yours however you like. And then we're just going to make sure it's pointing towards the base. So I like to sit directly behind it like this. Put that there. Twist that. Make sure it's pointing and looks as straight as possible, and then just press it down. And that's why we love a double-sided tape. Now to get the best finish, you can just backstitch like I normally do, but to get the best finish, we're going to pull and have a really long tail. And I'm going to start in this top corner here, like this, and we're not going to backstitch, and we're going to hold on to the tail to make sure it doesn't kind of run away. Now, this definitely works if you don't already have the bag joined, but I got a little bit ahead of myself, and this is what we've ended up with. So, I just have to kind of curl it into the throat. It's not the end of the world. It does make it a little bit more tricky, so I do recommend, especially if you're a beginner, maybe don't join all the bag. Alright, so I'm down to this point. Now before I turn it back, I'm going to turn it over and then I'm going to pull this back thread, which will give me a little loop so that I can pull this front thread here all the way to the back. And then I'm just going to tie it off. I like to do it in 3s. Everyone's got their magic number of knots. Once you start doing more than 3, it kind of gets a bit raised and it gets a bit much. But I mean, you can do 4 or 5 if that's your jam. Right, I did 4. Then I'm just going to chop off the tails so that they're out of the way. Now, it's really important that you do this before we get back to the start. It becomes a lot more difficult to turn them through if you get all the way back to the start again. Because if you sew over the threads and sew through one, it won't pull through. Oh, I did that on a previous one. Because I wasn't paying attention again. I was thinking about where my phone charger was so I could do this video. And then the last one, we're going to make sure it goes into that first hole, and then we're just going to lift it up, pull, make sure we leave some tails. And so then again, once we pull this, you can see there's a little loop that sticks up here. So I'm just going to take, you can take your snips or you can take your sewing awl. I personally prefer the sewing awl because it's less likely to like break your thread. Pull them to the back. And then I'm just going to tie these off as well. And so then now you have what looks like a seamless strap adjuster that is strong enough to take the weight of the bag and looks super cute. Just like that. Ta-da! If you wanted to, you could also add a rivet here. It would be more for decoration. Or you could do embroidery on these before you put them on your bag. Like, these ideas are limitless, but you get a beautiful, seamless strap adjuster. Alright guys, thanks for joining on this sewing candy. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.